All right, well, during a briefing provided to congressional staff on Friday, State Department officials admitted that they are in touch with at least 363 Americans and about 176 legal permanent residents, all who are stuck in Afghanistan. That's just the ones they've been in touch with. That's far fewer than the 100 that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin had said were there still in Afghanistan who wanted out when he testified last month.
What is the administration's current best estimate of the number of Americans that are in Afghanistan?
Senator, according to state, there are currently fewer than 100 American citizens who want to depart and are ready to leave.
Well, joining me now to talk about the Biden administration's latest admission is Congressman Pat Fallon, who is a member of the House Armed Services Committee. He represents the 4th Congressional District of Texas. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, sir.
So are you surprised about this admission that there are now more than 100 that are in Afghanistan and want out? Probably much more. But those others are not in contact with the U.S. State Department.
Well, you know, Tony, this administration has proven one thing, that they first start by just ignoring an issue. It doesn't matter how severe or, dire it is. Then they'll deflect, and then they obfuscate, and then they'll just spit out falsehoods. And then, only then, when they're caught, will they admit the truth. So right now we're looking at, like you usually said, about 363 American citizens, just under 200 permanent residents that want out. That number is not 100. That number is 500. And it doesn't surprise me because they just hope against hope that their media allies won't expose the truth.
Now, Congressman, the Ned Price, State Department spokesman, said they would not confirm how many Americans were in touch with the State Department in total, but they said that the number of people wanting to leave has grown because they were disappointed with what's happening in Afghanistan. Do you buy that?
No, I don't. Anybody that had been living in Afghanistan knows who the Taliban are, who they were, and who they, are going to be. These are folks that were shooting women in the head for reading, for conjugating verbs, for going to school. Anybody that dares, not share their strict view and specific view of Islam will be repressed. So, no, it's nothing new, and it's just, again, more obfuscation from this Biden regime.
I mean, when you see the timeline here, on August the 30th, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said, quote, "We believe there are still a small number of Americans, under 200 and likely closer to 100, who remain in Afghanistan and want to leave." August 31st, President Biden said, "Now we believe that about 100 to 200 Americans remain in Afghanistan with some intention to leave." September 5th, his chief of staff said, "We believe it's around 100. We're in touch with all of them." Then September the 10th, Secretary of State, the State Department Deputy Spokesman Porter said, "So again, the situation on the ground is really fluid, and about 100 in that number that we have of U.S. citizens." So they continue to say the same thing. Does this call into question any type of intel or fact that we get from this administration when it comes to their foreign policy?
You have to suspect it because they're breaching trust here. Look at remember, Tony, this is propaganda. This is not information. The drone strike is another perfect example. I got to ask directly Secretary Austin and General Milley about that. Milley called it a righteous strike 3 days later, although his CENTCOM commander admitted 5 or 6 hours later that they knew that innocent folks had been killed. And then they wouldn't answer as to when they knew that the entire thing was botched. So they go with a lie, and they repeat it enough times to where they think it just, it's kind of like baloney against the wall, except lives are at stake.
So we're up against a break, Congressman, but what's next? What needs to happen now?
Well, we need to, again, with the Democrats controlling all levers of government, it's difficult to get them to move forward. But I think another hearing to where we can really hold their feet to the fire and expose the truth to the American people.
Yeah, Congressman Fallon, I think you're absolutely right. The fact that we're getting this information, even though it is delayed, is because members of the minority in Congress, the Republicans, won't let up, and they keep asking the questions until finally they get answers. So we appreciate you asking those questions and appreciate you coming on Washington Watch today.
Thanks, Tony. God bless you. Take care.
All right.